how Dumbledore both defeated and lost in his duel with Grindelwald. Hey brother! Today I want to explain a gigantic and mysterious hole inside of the Harry Potter lore as we know it. How Dumbledore defeated and lost his duel with Grindelwald. Per Dumbledore's chocolate frog card that Harry opens on his first ever journey to Hogwarts, this is far and away Dumbledore's greatest accolade and what brought him such notoriety. And as much as the Fantastic Beasts story was meant to eventually give us an answer to this question, we certainly never really got close. But I do think that the answer may lie in the text, if not cleverly disguised. What sparked my curiosity is the unique phrasing Dumbledore uses in his conversation with Harry in King's Cross Station after Harry's attempt at death in the forest. The line we will zero in on goes like this. "They say he feared me, and perhaps he did, but less I think than I feared him. Oh, not death," said Dumbledore in answer to Harry's questioning look. "Not what he could do to me magically. I knew that we were evenly matched. Perhaps that I was a shade more skillful. It was the truth I feared, you see. I never knew which of us, in that last horrific fight, had actually cast the curse that killed my sister." Thing number one, he says that is the last horrific fight. That's the three-way duel with Aberforth. But wouldn't the last duel be 1945? It's a hint. But also he keeps using the past tense, and certainly given that Dumbledore himself is dead, he could either be referring to how he felt in life, which largely is how I've always interpreted this sentiment. But it could be something else, and I believe it is. I believe this is how he felt in the lead up to the 1945 battle with Grindelwald. Which leaves us with not only attempting to answer how Dumbledore won what should have been an unwinnable duel, but also if in life he ever truly discovered whose spell killed Ariana. Today, we explain both. Hey, brother! Okay, so how did I get here? What caused my own personal perspective shift? How I interpret this scene? One key thing is Harry's own response to Dumbledore's admission of fear, which goes like this. Another silence. Harry did not ask whether Dumbledore had ever found out who struck Ariana dead. He did not want to know, and even less did he want Dumbledore to have to tell him. This is huge, like really huge. Vagueness in plots is important because it leaves the door for interpretation open to the reader. The answer straight up is not definitive. The reality, of course, is that who cast the spell doesn't truly matter. The duel caused her death, plain and simple. But what does matter is how this impacts literally everything else. Okay, so again, it's said that Grindelwald feared Dumbledore. Dumbledore admits that he knows he is a shade more skillful. So how can he allow people to die when he has the power to stop him? And the answer? The Blood Pact! Just kidding, that was such a dumb plot device. Oh, we can't move against him. We have a necklace we made together. Oh, wait, it's broken. Boo! The actual explanation here was not nearly so much that Dumbledore feared Grindelwald in a duel. Instead, it's what facing him would mean, what he may learn. And what he explains is that in facing Grindelwald, it would be revealed just whose spell killed Ariana. But before we can even get to that, there are the other two details that also desperately need addressing. Thing number one, Grindelwald has the Elder Wand. We know that. He should not be able to lose this duel. But then there's thing number two, which is surprising because it's Rita Skeeter, of all people. She claims that the Duel of Legend may not be what it is said to be, and that Grindelwald simply throws up a white flag. Rita's obviously full of crap, but her reporting on Dumbledore seems oddly true, oddly often. So could this be, and if it is, then why? What possibly could have happened? The idea comes back to a long-standing belief that we've had here on the channel, that Dumbledore as a youth actually possessed the Elder Wand's brother. Part of this has to do with a really mysterious detail that was changed when the Fantastic Beasts films were coming out. Early on, Dumbledore is depicted with a black wand that looks terribly similar to the Elder Wand, just with a little different flair. But when the films were released, they changed his wand to look like this, featuring an almost like Obscurus-like handle. But in the flashback scene when Dumbledore and Grindelwald are making their blood pact, we can see that the original wand is still used. And I'll admit that this is maybe splitting hairs and giving the Fantastic Beasts saga too much credit, but an interesting detail to note and not otherwise actually essential to proving everything else. But anyway, the Elder Wand's story begins with the tale of the three brothers, and we can easily go into the Peveril brothers for days, whether they met death on a lonely road and were gifted the Deathly Hallows, or Dumbledore's version when he comes forth about the details of his life to Harry in King's Cross. "So, it's true?" asked Harry. "All of it? The Peveril brothers?" "We're the three brothers of the tale," said Dumbledore, nodding. "Oh, yes, I think so. Whether they met death on a lonely road, I think it more likely that the Peveril brothers were simply gifted, dangerous wizards who succeeded in creating those powerful objects. The story of them being Death's own hallows seems to me the sort of legend that might have sprung up around such creations." I've historically believed Dumbledore's assessment here, but a key detail about the Peverils is that they are brothers, and in this context, you can't simply throw that term around, especially given the implications. For starters, they were gifted, dangerous wizards, meaning they would each possess a wand, and given that each of their hallows reflect various natures of the Thestral, as in the Elder Wand has a Thestral hair core, it's also called the Death Stick, and you can't see a Thestral unless you've seen death. The Resurrection Stone is used to see those who are dead, and Thestrals are invisible, as in invisibility cloak.
My body's gone!
So I don't find it to be a leap at all that each of their wands may have sourced their power from a Thestral hair. And just for good record keeping, this is just already canonically true of the Elder Wand. Its core is a Thestral hair. It's a detail that we know for an absolute fact. So let's set the stage. We have young Albus Dumbledore, who is extraordinary as a young student. He wins every award. Even OWL examiner Professor Marchbank says in response to Umbridge's claim that they can find Dumbledore while he's on the run, "I doubt it," shouted tiny Professor Marchbanks. "Not if Dumbledore doesn't want to be found. I should know. Examined him personally in Transfiguration and Charms when he did NEWTs. Did things with the wand I'd never seen before." Good Marchbanks, if I do say so myself. But also not to discount Dumbledore's immense ability, intelligence, and talent, but pair all of that with what is otherwise probably one of the most powerful wands in the world, and you can easily see how he's become a wizarding sensation. But y'all, we just gotta take a quick pause right there to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Quick real talk. Jay and I are big advocates for mental health support. We both see counselors ourselves and try to create an open dialogue about the experience. And here at SCB, we even have a no questions asked policy for our staff to take therapy appointments at any time. And recently, BetterHelp's 2026 State of Stigma report surveyed 2,000 Americans and revealed that 85% of Americans believe getting support is wise, yet 74% say society discourages people from doing so. And honestly, I get it. I remember the first time I ever spoke publicly about going to a session, and it felt like the ultimate act of vulnerability. I choked up and had tears in my eyes. I was afraid of what the world might think. But if there's one thing I found in speaking with members of this very community, it's that a nudge can and does help in their lives. And I firmly believe that for every person who can take the first step, opens the door for others in their lives to do the same. And with BetterHelp, all you have to do is take a quick survey about your needs, and they will match you with a therapist that fits your goals. Don't let the stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/super. That's betterhelp.com/super. Link in the description down below. Now, back to the video. That then leads us to his departure from Hogwarts and the duel between Grindelwald, Albus, and Aberforth, where we know a spell hits Ariana and she dies. But imagine if in this battle the wand Dumbledore is using is in fact a Peveril brother wand. If so, I think it more than reasonable to believe that Albus would forever associate the wand with Ariana's death and abandon it immediately after. And I say that for two key reasons. The first is Priori Incantatem, and the second is that the Elder Wand is unbeatable. Mostly. Allow me to explain. When Harry describes what happened in the graveyard of Little Hangleton, how his and Voldemort's wands connected, Dumbledore has a nearly reminiscent level of understanding. "The wands connected?" Sirius said, looking from Harry to Dumbledore. "Why?" Harry looked up at Dumbledore again, on whose face there was an arrested look. "Priori Incantatem," he muttered. His eyes gazed into Harry's, and it was almost as though an invisible beam of understanding shot between them. Dumbledore knows what happened right away. He explains how when brother wands engage in a duel, they lock like this. And more on that in just a moment. Because then you have the Elder Wand. wand, the unbeatable wand. Dumbledore may know himself to be a shade more skillful than Grindelwald, but Grindelwald does have the Elder Wand, which means he should win, right? Honestly, I feel like it's amazing how often we have to ask that question. And sure enough, we know that Albus is afraid to fight Grindelwald, but not because he fears he can lose, but what he may learn from the duel. It was the truth, I fear. That is what he tells Harry. Despite this fear, though, things get bad, and Dumbledore knows he cannot let people die if he can do something about it. So, in 1945, he finally confronts him. But this is where, almost no matter how much more skillful Dumbledore may be, the Elder Wand remains a problem. So, what if the only thing that could match the Elder Wand is the Brother Wand? Basically making it so that the only way for Albus to contend is to return to a wand he has not used since Ariana's death. A wand that, if used, could result in Priori Incantatem, and thus Dumbledore being forced to learn the knowledge that he desperately does not want to learn, because the last spell it cast could be the spell that either did or didn't snuff out Ariana's life. And here's where it gets dark, or light, I guess, depending on your overall perspective. Like, we've got to ask, what is it like leading up to this duel? Has Grindelwald just been hoping that Dumbledore would never step forward? Does he just live with the knowledge that his reign of power is only as powerful as Dumbledore's fear? Hence, as Rita Skeeter claims, the white flag, Dumbledore steps into the ring and the bell's like, ding, 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 and Grindelwald's like, I'm out. Personally, I don't think so, because wizard duels don't start with a bell. I'm just kidding. I don't think so, but let me paint you the scene that I do picture, and you're free to picture it however you like, but this is what I see. It's an empty arena, Colosseum-like even, dirt floor, ancient, symbolic, powerful. Two gladiators standing before each other. Albus wielding the Brother Wand, Gellert the Elder Wand. For Grindelwald, he's facing the only man he ever feared. For Dumbledore, the only knowledge. They attack. Wands lock in Priori Incantatem, and just like in the graveyard between Harry and Voldemort, the golden bead is forced back and forth. But the Elder Wand just simply is more powerful. It's the artifact of the eldest Peveril brother, Antioch, and Grindelwald is its true master. And as such, the golden bead is forced into Albus's wand, and the truth is revealed. Dumbledore, at long last, that he was the one to strike the final blow on Ariana's life. I think Albus is defeated. His worst nightmare is true, and as legend would dictate, the more powerful wand won the duel. So why, as Rita Skeeter writes, the white flag? Of all the dirt she accurately uncovers, is this one just a false claim? Well, maybe the most powerful wand won the duel, but it is not the most powerful form of magic. Dumbledore again describes it like this. There's a room in the Department of Mysteries, interrupted Dumbledore, that is kept locked at all times. It contains a force that is at once more wonderful and more terrible than death, than human intelligence, than forces of nature. And what is that force? Love.
Love, Harry. Love.
Yeah, it's always love. Grindelwald did not trick Dumbledore as a youth. They truly did love each other. Do love each other, in fact. This is a very key difference between the two great Dark Lords of the age. Voldemort cannot love. He cannot experience remorse. But Grindelwald can, and does. Tears still glittering on the crooked nose. They say he showed remorse in later years, alone in his cell at Nurmengard. I hope that it is true. I would like to think that he did feel the horror and shame of what he had done. Perhaps that lie to Voldemort was his attempt to make amends, to prevent Voldemort from taking the Hallow. So we're back in the Colosseum now. Wands have connected, bead forced backwards into Dumbledore's wand. The truth is revealed. I imagine Albus falling to his knees, tears pouring from the blue eyes, defeated in every possible way. And Grindelwald may have wanted power, but seeing the person he loves destroyed is a price he cannot pay. And so, he raises the white flag. Okay, so this is more of an add-on thought, but I find it fascinating nonetheless. This lens really makes the feud between Harry and Voldemort feel like an echo of the feud between Albus and Gellert. We've got Brother Wands, Priori Incantatem, and at the bottom of it all, love. And when Dumbledore's tomb is sealed, Harry witnesses the following. Bright white flames had erupted around Dumbledore's body, and the table upon which it lay. Higher and higher they rose, obscuring the body. White smoke spiraled into the air and made strange shapes. Harry thought for one heart-stopping moment that he saw a phoenix fly joyfully into the blue. And in Fantastic Beasts, Dumbledore says,
"There's a story in my family that a phoenix will come to any Dumbledore in desperate need."
And the Dumbledore crest features a phoenix, and Dumbledore is uniquely capable of keeping Fawkes as a companion. So maybe we modify the phrase a little bit, and maybe a Dumbledore becomes a phoenix in death. Then Ariana may have become one, and if she is, she could not only be the phoenix that appears to Aberforth's son, Credence, aka Aurelius Dumbledore, or as Grindelwald likes to say, Aurelius. Aurelius Dumbledore.
Aurelius.
It's like he's trying to whisper shout. But this same phoenix may then also appear to Albus, a symbolic, living representation of the idea that love is undying, just like a phoenix. She is providing comfort to her nephew and to her brother. And it goes further still. Fawkes also provides the tail feathers for Harry and Voldemort's wands, and in doing so, reigniting the flame in the battle of good versus evil that was left unresolved between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. A battle that features the descendants of the second and third brothers from the Tail. Voldemort, whose gaunt heritage hails back to Cadmus and the Resurrection Stone, and Harry, the distant descendant of Ignotus and the true recipient of the Invisibility Cloak. And their final duel is decided by determining the true faith of what? The Elder Wand. Or maybe like a circle inside of a triangle with a line going through it. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future Harry Potter action from us. If you'd like to see our remastered version of Dumbledore's Horcrux, you can do so right over here. But otherwise, until next time, never forget, ducks, go Cubs.